testing, testing.
It's now showing me that it's a delay, so it's now showing me over there. Give it a second.
It's showing you over here?
That was showing me there a minute ago. It's delayed. Oh, I thought that was
It's me, it's me. Testing, testing, testing.
It's showing that it's moving. Say do it again.
Testing, testing, testing. Let me try something. Just that we got time, so.
I don't see you on the camera either.
Testing, 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 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
Hold on, I'm trying to find it on here. Here.
He was on TV on all the major networks. You see him?
Neva. She's still.
Oh, he was on, because I guess they like dogs and things. Oh my God. He's like a firefighter. He's on TV. He's just sitting there. you saw Mike McGrath, you saw him last night?
My buddy, yeah.
It's a continuous. Yeah.
Do you know, I umpired at noon Do you know that
you stated that he had integrity and honor and served this community with pride. Chief Chelios was a product of this strong organization, spending over 20 years of his career serving the residents of University Park. He was able to do his job so effectively because he had the privilege of coming up through the ranks and obtaining the title of fire chief. Now it is our turn to follow in those great footsteps. Duty, honor, pride, tradition. These are words that are often used within the fire service. They symbolize our duty to honor and protect the citizens of this community. And as a fire department, that is what we have done. We are proud to say that as an organization, there has not been one complaint against any member of this fire department in over a decade. These firefighters serve this community every day with integrity and respect. When any member of this community calls 911, they are calling us because they're having their worst day and we are there to help. It is our honor to show up every day for the citizens of this community and to put our lives on the line at any given moment. We have shown time and time again that this fire department is here to support this community. We have taken concessions on multiple occasions to assist this community in times of financial hardship, and we have shown that our number one priority is the safety and well-being of the residents. If this board takes action to repeal this current ordinance, it will strip our department of the opportunity to move up through the ranks, and we will no longer be able to retain long-term employees seeking advanced leadership roles. This ordinance was put in place to create a succession plan within our own organization. We currently have multiple employees with over 20 years of service to this community, which makes them the longest-standing employees within the village. We also have multiple employees with over 10 years of service to this community. These firefighters are showing a commitment to the residents by answering calls, training, continuing their education, and providing community awareness. The pride and integrity that comes with being a member of the University Park Fire Department is something that is earned, and we are extremely proud of the reputation that we have earned from our peers in other area departments. Every day we are filled with pride that we're allowed the chance to represent this community. By repealing this ordinance, it will effectively stop any chance of succession and advancement within this department. This action will deeply affect the members of this department and this community by losing retention of younger employees because they will see that there will be no room for advancement. So tonight, Mayor Rudez and trustees, we are asking that you stand with your employees and vote no on repealing this ordinance. Thank you.
Elaine, could you email me your report?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I got a question. When was that ordinance created?
2018.
2018, recently. Huh?
Yes, by Vivian Covington, and I know Trustee Brooks was on there at the time. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
So then I got another question here. So prior to that language being implemented, that legislation being passed in 2018, how was it previously?
Actually, it always has been brought within, because first it was Dave Litton, Gruberman, Chuck, Chief Chelios. We've always had a succession plan, we just never had language.
Say again.
We've always had a succession plan within the fire department. Every fire chief has come through the ranks with our fire department. There was just never an ordinance on the books prior to that.
So in other words, the prior practice
Was-
gave you the idea that might as well make that prior practice come into policy, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
I just want to understand how it originated, where it came from.
Yes, sir. For the last 5 generations of fire chiefs, they've all come. We had of always having a positive chief. We don't have turnover at the leadership level because we've all committed 20 plus years to this community at this point and want to see it through and finish serving the residents here. So that's why it was enacted.
And see, I took this agenda, so I'll stand behind it, and I'll tell you my reason. It's almost like it's just a little bit different than what's going on in today's society now, and it's a little challenge. So I want to put this on the agenda so we can have educated conversations where everybody can really understand. It's like, from my understanding, it's like, okay, well, I'm not the chief anymore. I'm going to pass it down to you. Then you'll pass it down to you. Then you'll pass it down to you. And you'll pass it to have an opportunity to even apply?
Well, for our organization, there are state statutes that say how you have to be qualified. And it's extremely proud that we have members willing to go get that education and take the time and commit to this community. And after 20 years of service and showing what we can do for these residents, that's why we believe we should be afforded that opportunity to continue on the path we are on. Because this fire department is a successful fire department within this village.
Oh, yeah, I don't argue with you at all.
We respond to calls. These gentlemen behind me, because we are currently only have 13 out of 21 people staffed. On Monday, we do have a new employee starting, which is very exciting. But these gentlemen are working 72 hours at a time, sometimes 96 without going home.
So I got a question. Because
Yes, sir.
Is that a different way of saying, depending on the leadership we want to perform up to our full?
No. Absolutely not. What I'm saying is that we are showing that we are willing to stay here and be committed, and we are willing to move forward with this village. As you say, we're a village on the move, and we're a fire department on the move. We implemented new programs, and even though we may be short-staffed and our chief passed away, the loss, we are still grieving, to tell you the truth. We do recognize that our history here is working, and this fire department is a positive light on this village, and we would like it to continue in that direction.
If, say, for instance, let's look at the 50-50 thing. Say, for instance, it does, if the building starts over, what would change?
The history, the tradition, the ability for us to function as we are now. We are functioning positively. We're continually moving forward. We have new ideas. We're starting new programs. We started CPR for not only the village employees, but also residents. We're currently doing more outreach. What we are able to do as a department is because we have this trust among us, and we've worked together for so long. Change isn't always good just for the sake of change. The fire department is working as a unit moving forward, and we'd like just the opportunity to prove that we can do it, and we are ready and willing, and we want to assist you and anyone else in taking the fire department to just be the best in the county. And trust me, we're already there.
And that's cool, because I love our fire department. I love our whole community and overall. I busted my tail for this community for a thankless job as being mayor. And I don't think that this was not the intention to insult, degrade, or say that no one is capable. I think what it does is, in my opinion, it opens up our scope, and it gives us, instead of just a small community, it opens us up to say, hey, you might find somebody out there, it might be posted. I don't know, but I want to have this discussion.
Absolutely. I'm so glad we're having it, because we just want to emphasize that we, community, we're taking the time to get education on our own time, because to become a chief, you have to have at least associates or a bachelor's. That's not funded by anyone here, but we are doing that on our own just to make sure we are prepared to serve this community when our time comes. And we want that opportunity, and we want to show that this is the right move for this department, as it always has been for the last 40 years that we have been doing this tradition. But thank you.
Yeah, just listen, if we don't have these conversations, all conversations that we have aren't going to always be comfortable. But
Sure.
these are necessary components that we must look at, we must talk about, and think about how we can expand our footprint in the village. I love everything that you guys are doing. It's a great fire department. And I don't understand, this is not to be offensive to anybody by opening it up. And if that was the case, I've never seen a law like this where it says that you have to just stay in succession twice. I've never seen.
It's actually,
I've asked other mayors, I've asked other colleagues, I've asked other human resources people, because I want to make sure when I put something on this agenda that we can talk about it educated and not just this isn't done out of spite or anger or anything else. This is just expanding our horizon, looking from the Flintstones to the Jetson generation and seeing what is in the best interest of the overall community. Because I guess just in the leadership role, it doesn't matter and their skill and their craft, they're going to perform it at their same level as well. So,
I will tell you, in the fire service, it does matter who is in the leadership role, because when we go on calls, there are times you might not come home, and you want to make sure that person giving you direction on that call is someone you respect and trust and has the knowledge base and the training. And we know that our members do have that, and that's why we are so passionate and want to fight for this so hard.
all right, it's good to see you.
You too.
Most of the time we just go in each other's past. You know, there's some things, but if there are any other questions from the board members, this is an open dialogue. I haven't ever seen the firefighters like that. I thought somebody pulled their line.
We have, this is just Jim.
Both my daughter and son are firefighters in Fort Worth, Texas, so I would love for them to come back home.
Us too. Tell them to come talk to me. We're testing.
Anybody else have any other questions?
I do, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Nesbit, how many firefighters are going to be coming on?
I can't.
How many firefighters are we having that are coming on?
On Monday, we have one that will be starting.
Is there another one that's coming down the pipeline?
I am not privileged with the information. That's what the Fire and Police Commission to answer.
As of right now, no.
So,
There is an out, and it will close, the application period will close on April 24th.
How many have we had that came at one time?
The most we've ever started at one time, I believe, was 3.
all right, so Elaine, I don't want to cut you off, but I have to stay fair with everybody.
Sure.
You've extended your 3 minutes, and I want to be fair. And I don't want to say, well, you let Elaine stay there, so I'm going to get this. So I
No.
I have to do everybody the same.
Absolutely.
Continue this, and I'm sure that we can have a conversation among the board members and stuff.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the time.
Yes.
Thank you. And if any of you would like to reach out to speak to us, we're always here. Thank
Don't
you.
forget to email that to me.
I will.
Okay.
Deborah J. Stroud.
Good evening, Mayor, Board, those present, those viewing, and I swear I wouldn't have said nothing about the 3 minutes over. Not this time.
Not this time.
No, sir.
But I know.
No, sir. But I was so excited last board meeting, when I was talking about the Cotton Club in a box at the library. I totally forgot to mention about, we had also the Eclipse watch party at the library yesterday. How many people attended? I know you did. Definitely. Awesome. Pardon? But even though I didn't mention it, it is in the University Park Public Library newsletter. Just as other activities and events are listed in that newsletter. Please start reading it, please start attending, because I watched the eclipse. I'm sorry I wasn't at the library, but I did watch it. And I hope many of you may have viewed it as well. Okay? I've been in conversation with people while watching the news today, and people talking about how they viewed it. And if any of you that saw it, do you have 3 words? Just 3 words to describe it when you think about it.
It was amazing.
Anybody else?
Beautiful.
That's one. But anyway, it took me to about,
Well,
pardon?
Once in a lifetime.
Okay, your 4 took care of your 1. But
Oh, I just be getting started. Shit.
But my take on it was God at work. I hope any of us are still around 20 years from now, because one thing I've asked people, what did you get from seeing it? My take was,
Pick it up on me, just kind of pick it up.
I'm actually scared to touch it. Do what now?
No, just to try to move the static out, that's all.
Okay. My take on it was, when you think about 3.5 to 4.5 minutes across the United States, people stand shoulder to shoulder. I haven't heard about any hate expressed. I've not heard anything negative expressed. Imagine, as people just in this community, if we use 3.5 to 4.5 minutes and take it to an hour, a day, a week, a month, so on and so forth, can you imagine what our community would be like? Just consider that thought, like I have. But I'm not going to belabor on it anymore because I want to thank Chief Mitchell. Last week, I picked up some national ID kits, and I did what he told me to, make sure I start passing them out in this community. And I've gotten so many areas. I've already told him I'm going to pick up some more tomorrow. And I just think that with all the amount of residents, especially the youth, and with summer coming, get these ID kits out and about. I have gone to the trunk of my car and gotten them out when I'm at Speedway, when I'm at PK Pantry. When I realized I passed out 107, I even played the number, but it didn't win. But still, I'm gonna pass out some more and I'm gonna play that number. But by the same token, let's keep doing what we can as residents, as officials, to give back into this community on a positive. And again, please read that newsletter. Did I use all my 3 minutes?
30 of them.
No, I didn't, because you were talking also. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Clerk Jones, thank you. While we were waiting on trustee to return, she noticed how I whizzed across the table, across the floor. And she reminded me that a year ago, I couldn't do that. Thank God for that hip
I
replacement.
did want to, one question before you get done. What day is the Mother's Day event on?
The second Sunday, thank you, May 12th, on Mother's Day.
All right, it's actually, okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.
Everyone have a good evening. Enjoy, be safe. Thank you.
I want to say the Kite Club event was phenomenal.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it was.
Wait a minute. I want to say something, but
It was phenomenal.
sometimes some people
A Gladys Knight Pip, and I won a book. Yes. But start coming to these events. They're local. They're right here in the community.
if we turn to each other, not on each other, this community wins, okay?
Think about that 3.5 to 4.5 minutes. That's a start.
All right.
Okay?
And I wish I had known about the eclipse. I would have been there.
Shame on you. You didn't read the newsletter. Okay?
Thank you so much. Our last item on the agenda.
No, our first one.
My person, Bridget.
He had brought it up before she came in.
Oh, he had brought it up before she came in. You're welcome. Oh, I see. Bridget Simmons.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Bridget Simmons Franklin, and I just have two quick things. One, our University Park Lions spring football started today, and I'm very excited. I've already got in contact with Ms. Scott and Chief Mitchell to let them know that we'll be out there. We'll be out there on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 6 at Palmer Park. So if you have children from the ages of kindergarten through 8th grade, please bring them out, get them active, allow them to come out and become a part of a team. We're actually going to have a spring flag season. The first game will be the last Saturday of April, and so this is something that we're doing within the community, and we're very excited about that. So if you all have any children, your neighbors, nieces and nephews, boys and girls, we had a lot of girls out there as well, please bring them out there. We're very excited about the season. And lastly, I just wanted to give flowers to Ms. Keeley. I know that she's getting ready to depart from the Village of University Park. I know that she's been here for decades. I've grown up with her family. She has come back to the Lions program for the last maybe 3 years to help us out in areas where we have been struggling, and she's really been a blessing to the program. program. So I just really wanted to give her flowers, just to let her know that she's been very much appreciated by many of us in the community. She's going to have very big shoes to fill. I just wanted to wish her well in her future endeavors and send her love, prayers, and well wishes. So, good night.
Well spoken. Thank you so much. All right, the last item on the agenda.
No, sir. We didn't go through We through with the public comment.
The next item on the agenda is the food truck.
No, it isn't. No, that's second. Here we go, Mr. Division 518.
Oh, it's the discussion regarding the repeal of ordinance 02018-11 pertaining to the composition, purpose, and configuration of the Division of Fire. That's the conversation. You had the public comments, now there's the conversation
Yes,
on
sir.
the active board members. Okay, it's on the floor. Everybody, does anyone have any questions or comments?
Because this one would change.
I do have questions. I was listening to Ms. Nesbitt, right? What are the differences? What is being changed with the ordinance?
So basically, from my understanding, it then creates, right now, we can only hire from within. With this, with repealing this ordinance, we can then go out for a larger search. When I did call some municipalities, I don't know if you can interject, Acting Chief, but there's no town that I'm aware of in this area that has an ordinance like this for a chief. So I did reach out to a few, and I don't know of any, but if you have an ordinance, if you could send that to me, because I don't have that.
I can start researching to see, but it is common practice to come from within, actually with the deputy chief.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
It is common practice to have the deputy chief fill the role in the replacement of the fire chief. That is not uncommon in any department.
No, I understand. I just wanted to know about the ordinance overall. What was the changes?
That's the change, and like I said,
It's just for
one
the-
thing is
the-
common practice, like he said, the other thing is an ordinance. So I did reach out to some village managers, and they did tell me that they do not have an ordinance in place. The other thing, when Lieutenant Nesbitt made the comment that for the past 4 decades, I think, I'm not sure, but there have been 40 years, there have been 5 chiefs without the ordinance that was from within. So that means that it works when there isn't the ordinance in place. Also, there's a question of diversity, and this actually kind of precludes that. If you keep in line with this, then, the diversity isn't there. So that's it.
But Manager, let me make that
The diversity of just the fire chief or the diversity of any firefighter?
Diversity of the department as a whole.
Well, can I add on that, Manager?
Yes.
Like Lieutenant Nesbitt said, that anyone can join our fire department and then invest the time for the next 20 years. So diversity is depending upon who decides to invest their careers with us and to stay here and to put that time in to then do that. There's no limitations. There's nothing that stops anyone of any diversity from coming to our department and then investing those 20 years plus to then be a part of it. What it does is it just ensures us that anyone who's going to give that time and start from scratch and come up through the ranks has that opportunity to apply. And again, if no one in the department wants to take that role on, the village does have the ability to go to the outside. It is not only exclusive. So if there's no one that qualifies and no one that meets the standards, you can go to the outside. So it just affords the people who've given those 20 years the opportunity first to get that opportunity to then say, yes, after all these years, I'd like to do it. If not, then yes, we can go anywhere in the country for anyone.
So that's what when I was reading the ordinance states, that they're going to look within first.
That is correct.
And then after they look within first, if there's not anyone that's qualified to fill the position, then we can go outside.
That is correct, and it states right in there. And those qualifications are outlined in the state statute.
And that's true with any state statute for a chief. So the qualifications, are, when you read through the qualifications, there's people in every department that qualify for that. So basically, what they're basically saying with this ordinance is you can't go outside to hire. So, I have questions about that. And by their own chiefs prior to this ordinance, or you can at least just say 4 prior to this ordinance. So, you know, that's it. And like I said, I don't know of any other community that has this. And you can also liken this to the police department. So we don't have an ordinance unless it hasn't been codified. There's no ordinance that I know of that says that we only have to hire a police chief from within. And it can be problematic, in my opinion.
It just hasn't in our departments. We worked out very well.
So does anybody remember Mayor Ruiz, when you were on the board back in this, I want to know the original purpose of this ordinance.
I wasn't there.
Do you remember, Clerk?
It was March 28th of 2018.
I know when it was, but I mean, do you remember the original purpose of it?
No.
So,
I don't want to speak on someone who wasn't here, but
Well, I was here. I was promoted the night that was put in place, and that was something.
with respect to the village manager, but I did speak with him, and, but I don't want to say what he said here. I think he should speak on that.
Well, do you remember the original purpose?
The original purpose was, at that time, is there was 2 vacancies, and we felt that we had told the village manager exactly this argument, that affording the people of our department that have given 20 years and the opportunity to have the first shot of the succession plan was going to bring the stability. At the time, the police department was going through a very rough time with stability. There was multiple changes of police chiefs. And at that time, we argued that, hey, we don't want this to happen to our department. And that village manager at the time, short of maybe the conversation with you, agreed with us, obviously, and so did the board who voted for this.
Deputy Chief Richards, so what is your perspective on this ordinance?
I feel it'd be catastrophic to the morale of my department.
You feel what?
I feel it'd be catastrophic to the morale of my department. I really think that there's a lot of people that stayed past a certain point to knowing that they'll have at least an opportunity to apply for that. Because you're going to remember, there may be 4 or 5 people apply. Not everyone's going to get it. There's no guarantee that you're going to get this opportunity within your career. So it's one of those where it is just affords the people the right opportunity. And if there may be a point where no one wants it or no one's qualified for it, and then, like I said, by all means, we can go to the outside of the department. It just creates an atmosphere of stability, but doesn't limit the village. It just limits the village initially by who is here. If they don't want it or don't qualify, then they can, by all means, go to the outside.
Thank you.
I just think at this point, to make a change at a time, at our time, specific time in our department, I think it would be catastrophic to do this.
and just as a conscious observer, I was not on the board during that time being, but Trustee Thompson raised a really good point, because it seems like this was an intended purpose to create this kind of legislation. It seems like there was an intended purpose to
ensure the stability of our department that has been proven over a few years. Mayor, you're right, it secured stability. And our department's produced that ever since. And again, diversity is not an issue because anyone can join our department and go spend 20 years of their life to afford this option.
Well,
But does it have to be 20 years if they already experienced as firefighters somewhere else? Does that translate over if they was to come working at the department?
Sorry.
So like another firefighter comes in, they already have experience. They might not be starting from scratch, but they come in from somewhere else. They have experience of years, and they come in, but they still also fall in line to be a part of that pool of people.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't have to be 20 years, it's
No.
just, okay.
I apologize. We reference 20 years because that's the benchmark when most people can retire. So yes, anyone who comes and starts in our department from the very beginning and works their way up, no matter how much experience they have, little or how much they do have, they're still eligible for all this. So there's no exclusion within the department. So anyone who wants to become a part of us and work to service the community, they're eligible. So the fact that we don't have that diversity is truly a bigger question and truly a bigger conversation for all of us. We're competing against some very large departments, and money we don't have to offer. So drawing candidates is very difficult because we're not competitive at a starting salary. So that's a bigger question on that diversity issue. It has nothing to do with this.
I have a comment I'd like to throw out there. I've been working a long time. Almost every job I ever had, they hired the people from within first. Other people can apply, but people who already work there are doing the job, and sometimes doing jobs that they're not even, they're just filling in, they're helping out. They get first preference. I quit a job once because I didn't have upward mobility. I was never going to be able to move. And so my morale was low, and I left that job. Nobody wants to work on a dead-end job. So why fix a process that's not broken? It's not broken.
And that's what I was.
It doesn't, you can still get other people.
That's what I was wondering, because I wanted to have this conversation, because it's, if the things were working prior to, what was the urgency and the importance of creating legislation for it if things had already been according to everyone else working in his best interest of the community, everybody was having opportunity and upward mobility?
What, like I said earlier, sorry, Mayor, not to interrupt you, I apologize, but like I said earlier.
Because I know that my predecessor and some of the trustees were here didn't come out the clear blue sky and create that on their own. There had to be conversations to create this. So it just didn't say, well, we want to make sure that as legislators, we want to put policy in place to ensure this. So there has to have been a point where there was conversation.
Yeah, there did. It did.
The inclusion is not there. This ordinance is created. So something happened in between for this to be created.
This was created, like I said earlier, because we were having such an instability in the police department and other departments at the time, and this was a big issue. This was around the time where we were going to be promoting, or we had a vacancy, and Pate was going to be the police chief, and there was a lot of instability, and then that's what sparked this, having this to come into it, is that instability, and they said, how do we stop this from happening in any other department? And this was a suggestion that was a conversation between the chief and the village manager at the time. Yeah, you were correct. There was something that caused that. And again, I think my suggestion to the board and to the village at this point is maybe the conversation should be, if diversity is the big issue, maybe we should have a conversation about how we diversify this department even more than it already is. How do we get this department to reflect our community more? Those are the conversations we need to be having. Yes, it is. It's true. Absolutely, there is. We meet all the regulations and standards, but that's the question. That's the conversation I want to have, is how do we go and take this so we can include people, to get them into their department, to stay, to be diverse, and to stay here to be eligible for these positions. There's no reason why we can't work to do that. That's what we should be working towards.
Yeah, and I've been around this time 17 years.
Mayor, I know, I've been with you for 20 of them.
Yeah, and I was an employee under Mike Wooden. I was here when David Litton. I was here with all the transitions. But what I heard you say, that it was successful and it worked in, but there had to be something urgent. It seems like there's going to be straightforward.
Yeah, sure.
It's like there's a doggone promise to pass on to somebody else. I'm just going to be clear and transparent.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
if I could just weigh in on this.
Yes, go ahead. I wasn't
Having been here through all of the fire chiefs that have been named, and even ones that were not named, I feel, and it's been proven, as time changes, we need to change. So although I know this ordinance came forward in 2018, I remember conversations long before that, and it was one of those past practices. If you can stay, you move. Because they have some rigid requirements for the fire department. So like Trustee Thompson, I agree. I see it, why not give the people that are there, chances for advancement, for longevity, especially when they're doing such a good service. And let's be honest, there aren't, and not talk, when we talk about diversity and inclusion, there are not a lot of people of color that will run into a burning building or jump out of a window. We've got dedicated people, and I think that things were being taken for granted, and this succession was like getting pushed back, and somebody had to say, we need an ordinance to hold the fire department, police department accountable. When I was elected village clerk, in the history of this village, there had never been an ordinance for a village clerk. That's the first thing we did, was to write an ordinance so that people can know that you elected us. You are accountable to, we elected you. You are accountable to us. But they had nothing to look at other than past practices. And personally, I think that might have been the driving force behind putting pen to pencil, pencil to paper, and bringing something forward.
But we don't have that continuity, we didn't have that succession. And then institutional knowledge, the knowledge that I know on how this department works is effective. I know all the ins and outs. I know the mistakes we made in the past trying to grow this department. I know the mistakes that we had and the successes and the mistakes. We had good days, we had bad days. But in the last 6 years or 5 years as a leader in this, the second in command and leader of this department, I made a lot of big mistakes, but I made a lot of successful things that I learned. Bringing someone in that is starting from scratch has to learn all that. That was a breakdown, that continuity of the institution. So in essence, yes, there is great candidates. I'm not saying I'm the greatest ever, but there's probably someone much better than me that would love to come here. But unfortunately, you guys, all of us can't guarantee that that is going to be the case of finding that person. What I can guarantee you is I have the knowledge, or not saying just me, there's people in my department that have the knowledge of how we operate, the successes, the failures, to be able to say, okay, we don't have to learn anymore of our past, we can now use all this energy and move forward. And like I said, that goes back to the conversation that I had earlier. We should be looking at other avenues, other conversations to have to make our department successful. That continuity has failed in all the other departments.
In the other conversations? So I do have a question. So when you mentioned the former manager, John, the guy was the manager when I got elected in 2019. What was his title? Because I'm understanding, I think he had multiple different titles.
He came in as the police chief, and then I believe, Dee, you might want to help me on this one. I think there was some little, director of public safety, and then he went to village manager.
Yeah, and that ordinance, Director of Public Services for Safety, had been on the books since the 70s or early 80s.
Director of Public Service, Safety or whatever?
He was appointed then.
So he had 3 positions.
Yeah, but I don't think that title never made it to ordinance. I don't believe that was something that...
It had been on the books. Yes, it was. Yes. Yes, he had 3 titles.
That position had to be a sworn officer, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, because like I say, it was codified back in the late 70s or early 80s. So that was something he saw, the position. He brought it to the board. They put it back into force. They funded the line item. Yeah. But if I'm not mistaken, it was written, like I say, 73, 77, or something like that. That was it. But it had never been funded before Mr. Pate. He brought it back.
Those are some of the challenges of the modern day administrations now, because our legislation goes all the way back. I was looking at something, our building codes, our codes go all the way back to 69 and 70, and some of those things are nowhere near relevant as we are today. So that's the real legislative work that really needs to be done by our board, to go back and activate and do the legislation work that's happening. So anybody else have any other comments regarding this? Because this isn't going to be in here or not. There's going to be continued conversations so everybody can be on the same page. I think that this is a healthy conversation to start it. That's why I wanted this on the agenda, to get the sentiments of Trustee Thompson, to get the sentiments of Donna and J-Mac and Cameron, to get the sentiments so we can make the best informed decision moving forward. Because if we don't prepare ourselves for the next generation, we are all considered failing. Because it's my obligation to prepare the next generation, to plant a seed. And I know I'm not going to be here when some of these things come into fruition, but I would be failing if I didn't put things in place for success and for the next people coming in behind us.
That is awesome, and I have a ton of ideas on how we can achieve everything that everyone tonight has asked. You know, mentoring is a big deal. You know, I was mentored as I came up through the department, and I would love to mentor someone coming up for the succession plan.
You know, the face of the community has changed, and pretty soon this community will be at 33 as far as ethnicity. Before you know it, we'll be a real diverse community, and if we don't adapt and adjust some of the changes that are occurring, we might not be comfortable with, we might not like it, but the change is evident, and either we adapt and adjust or move on elsewhere, because it's going to be here, and it's not going to go away. So how we move forward. Discussion, and we'll have further conversations as far as that goes. Is that cool with everybody? Y'all good with that?
Yes.
Yeah, we're
Not a table.
We'll come back and readdress it. Everybody will have the opportunity to do their homework and come together like a good old pizza with everybody's ingredients and come out with the best decision. So if that's everybody's comments on this item, we're going to conclude that item.
Any objections to? No objections.
No, so we'll conclude that, then we'll go into our last item. Again, coming into the future. Now, this discussion is an ordinance regarding food truck and permit fees or update existing food truck vendors. You know, and just before we even get into this, there was a tattoo parlor that was down at the town center. We had nothing in place, so when they came, there was no reference point, there was nothing that we had to say, that we had to stand by these standards or anything. So all these things, we have to be out in front as legislators to put things in place. Food trucks are one of the most common things and most necessities out here in the world nowadays. So the floor is open for discussion. There is an ordinance that was
sent to everybody.
That was sent to everybody that the clerk had pushed that. Trustee Thompson, let's see some black and white.
She can have it.
But this is the discussion. So one of the things about this ordinance is it doesn't specify exactly by, like, say, a food truck. It has a curbside, mobile curbside vendors or something of that nature. So I think I think when we make legislation, it has to be clear and concise, so there's not a gray area that has causes for question or anything of that nature. So that's what's on the floor. This is our last agenda item. So let's open up this floor. A discussion of an ordinance regarding food truck and permit fees or update existing food truck vendors. And just when I looked at the fees were back in the
ridiculous.
70s.
Right.
$20,
$25 for a truck.
Not that I'm about taxing the fees, but let's be up to speed.
You got to be up to current standards.
Yeah, let's be comparable. All right. So, any questions regarding this ordinance or?
I have a question. So I'm looking at this, and so do we have any like public health portions to this?
Oh, they have to be inspected by the Will County Health Department, and they also have to go through the police department or whoever we use for make sure that for safety.
That the person isn't a heinous person out there committing crimes or something like that.
Right.
So in addition to that,
It's just not in this draft ordinance, though.
it is a little bit.
It says, full inspection and licensing is the one that I have.
Does Will County have one already? I mean, do they have regulations for food trucks?
Yes.
Will County?
Yes.
It falls under the provisions of the Will County Health Department. All food trucks do.
Yeah, so just for the record, so in case those, well, Donna, you've seen the car shows and the food vendors, they all have to be approved and certified through the Will County Health Department. And when we have our food trucks for affairs and vendors, they come out the morning of and everything to ensure that everything is in compliance. And Donna, you probably deal with them at the concession stand as well. So,
And they also must have written permission from the property owner to park their vehicles and dispense food. So if they park here a few years back, in front of the police department, they were allowed. Prior to that, they were all in the industrial park, but there were no regulations, and that's when they came up, looked back at what was on the books.
So the action that needs to be taken is a change in the language, clarity,
and increase in the fees.
Yeah, fees are not, the fees, it says penalty for violation, but it's no actual fee.
There are some, that last page cut off, it's not in that. But there were fees, but they are ridiculously low. $25.
I was a little off.
Yeah.
What would be the suggested permit fee? Has anyone done any? Well, we haven't had an opportunity to have anybody.
Yes, I have.
What you have?
Typically between $50 and $100.
Yeah.
Example, Tinley Park is, I think it's around 110. Richmond Park's 100. South Village is 50. So it just ranges.
Nothing crazy, but
Keep this.
Between 50 and 100.
She can keep this.
Most of them around 100.
Right.
yeah. So that's the fee. So we're asking, what would be the pleasure of the council for the fee structure? Would it be $75 or $100, or $100 even?
Would you look at the size of the truck when you're setting the fee?
I think we'll just probably, and that's a good point, but I think we'll just make it more complicated. And if it's a standard licensed food truck, then the fee would be standard just uniform throughout.
What if we set the fees, what if we take an average of the surrounding communities and make it whatever the average is?
Hey, wait.
It's 100. It's about $100. South Village is just a little lower, like a lot lower, but it's about $100.
But this is for food truck and for vendors, right?
But that's what they're
Yeah, well, a food truck.
So they're gonna, the vendors still fall on the food truck? Okay.
A food truck operator is considered as a vendor.
It included toys and T-shirts, trustee.
Is it a one-time fee? That's a good question. Is it a one-time fee, an annual fee?
It's an annual fee.
No, I was talking about penalties for violation, for violation.
So JT is talking about penalties and fines.
Yeah.
So there's two conversations. There's a penalty and fines conversation, and there's also a flat fee conversation. For the truck. So just a straw poll, what were you saying about the fee? $100 is good with that?
Oh, yeah.
So the time of operation ends at 7 p.m.
And penalties, your suggestion, JT?
Oh, you have to look at it.
Okay.
And then ice cream trucks are included.
In a lot of the communities, it's the same price. They include ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream truck, yeah.
But the time, I don't know. I never saw an ice cream truck after 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock is early in the summer, though.
But that's why I was wondering about the summer times.
Yeah, 7, yeah. Because you know what? She made a good point. I've really never seen a food truck 8 o'clock in the evening. I mean, not a food truck, ice cream truck. Tasty Freeze usually in by sunset.
Yeah, I've never seen.
In the summer, that's like, what, 8:30?
So, what we're gonna do with this, young ladies of the council? So do we?
I think we should take the feed.
So please, ladies, that there's going to be probably something blank. So you just fill in the blank so we can get this done and get this in effect blank ASAP and stuff. Because I've noticed you guys go up and down Western Avenue a lot. Yeah. So I was talking to Mayor Woods, and I was getting some information about that as well. Yeah, because it seems like that's like a regular stop for people now.
It is.
Yeah.
It's always packed. It's 2 food trucks.
Yeah.
Right there, too.
All right, so we'll move that forward. There'll be couple of amendments and.
But is it, for the food trucks, shouldn't it be like in certain particular areas? Because is it like, just residential streets? I think it should be specifying like where they can park, shouldn't it be?
You want to limit ice cream trucks from driving through areas, and then you're
not, I don't think she's talking about ice cream. She's saying the food.
Not ice cream trucks. Ice cream trucks, they go out through the community, but the food trucks that just set up, I don't know if it's like.
Not going up and down the street.
So if you don't want an ice cream truck to drive down your block, you can't have a food truck. It just, it's the same when I look. It's the same.
So, for clarity for everybody listening, the food truck would have a stationary location approved by the owner or whoever it is, and that would be their location, that signpost and everything else, as long as they're in compliance with Will County Health Department and everything else.
But if it's a food truck, not an ice cream truck. If it's a food truck, we should get to decide where they can park, not them.
Well, no, if it's say for instance, it's on private property, the owner would have to grant them permission to park on their property.
So I went to a party in the neighborhood, and they had a taco food truck for the party, and they were able to park the truck in their driveway, and as people came in and out of the backyard, the food was free because it's part of the party, and they served them right there from the driveway, so.
And if you go in the industrial, you see them for lunch.
Yeah, that's where we got this one from, because they were moving without permission of the property owner. They'd just pull up and park. So that's when they brought forward this.
Okay. All right. So we've got an action item, and before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I'm just going to ask to delay everybody give me 5 minutes, because Matthew Scott wants to give the general public, the people that are here, our viewing audience, some great news regarding Aqua Water with our attorney Mike McGrath, that the Village of University Park is really doing good stuff.
Can I say something first?
Yes, ma'am.
It will only take a moment, but I would like to offer condolences to our former trustee in the loss of her father, and also Cook County Clerk Karen Yarbrough, and everybody who's going through losses in your family. Just know, each day that we wake up, we've got another chance to get it right or do better. So keep the faith. And to our trustee Brooks, hang on in there. You're getting better. That was it.
That was it. That's important. That's important because we have to learn the element of taking care of each other. God has his people here to help each other, not hurt each other. All right, let's go. Water. Manager Scott.
Judge Anderson,
They can't hear you in the public. Would you please activate?
came down with his is order. So not only are we able to intervene in the Zimmerman lawsuit, which is, obviously for the residents for damages, they also allowed them to intervene on behalf of the compliance part of the suit, which is a different suit on behalf of the people, which the Attorney General Kwame Raoul's office was trying to go into a consent decree with Aqua, and the village really didn't know what was happening, and so they ordered that they cannot sign the consent decree. So that's huge. And so now, we're able to come back with some of our asks, and I just wanted to thank Odelson, Burt, McGrath, Frazier, for all of their really hard work stepping in at the end and really making a huge impact and a difference in the lives of these residents. Also, we're able to now disclose, we were under an NDA, but Samsung is, their headquarters are coming to University Park. 701 Central. They're actually consolidating throughout the country. We've been in talks with them for quite a while. Yeah, for quite some time, 5 months, and they're coming, so it's official. They flew in today, and we're really excited to be working with them and welcoming them to the second largest industrial corridor. So.
Yes. And let's just talk a little bit more about it, because I know you had to get that one in. You had to get it in. But listen, Samsung, yes, Mrs. Niva, Samsung, how serious they were about coming to University Park, making that their national distribution facility. They closed 3 major locations in the Midwest, and after having conversation and understanding some things about our process and that we're a business-friendly community, they have made a commitment. The lease has been signed. They're going to be coming into the facility 10 years at a time, and when it gets to year 7, they plan on being here for a mighty, mighty long time. That's everything that Samsung sells will be based right in our industrial park. And I was able to say, our city manager is an iPhone girl. I'm a Samsung guy. They really love the mayor. They really love the mayor. So we're going to keep everybody abreast. There's going to be a major ribbon cutting and press release coming out about the new Samsung location in University Park. We should all be thrilled about that. There'll be a couple of hundred jobs initiating it, and through our good council that we will have an opportunity to have a community benefits agreement in order to ensure that we're not overlooked, because when people come into the community, they say all the great things, they say all the catchwords, this, that, and another, but nothing's better than having it in black and white. So it's a victory. Thank everybody for their patience. See, y'all, I don't hide nothing from you guys. I don't hide anything at all, but as my experience before, sometimes we get so excited, and in my younger years, I was so enthusiastic that you just want to put the cart before the horse, and in reality, some people just didn't want to see things happen because of who the individual was, but in the meantime, in between time, we all have a great, great opportunity, jobs, and what Samsung does for us, it solidifies our conversations to finish the conversation with the Cracker Barrel, with the Pekin, because our travel center right here, the Quick Trip that's got the pedal to the metal, is a 24/7, 365 operation. So those who travel to interstates, there are always some kind of nice restaurants, family-style restaurants revolved around there. So continue keeping the village of University Park in your prayers. Trust and believe that things are happening, and we're turning the edge, and this is a great thing. We're going to have a great big celebration with Aqua. We're going to get some streets done. We're going to get new people out on our public works and our fire department, police department. So the village is a work in progress. It's a work in progress. And stability is important as far as growth and development for our community. So, and I can just go on and on. So I'm not going to go on and on because we got to go on and get out of here. And everybody wants to go. So is there a motion to adjourn?
Whoa. You too. Okay.
All in favor? Opposed? None.